Welcome back to another podcast of Road to Abundance. Today we have Nuria. So I met her at Tony Robbins at a platinum event. She's an amazing woman. She does real estate, and I'm going to let her explain what exactly she do in real estate. She just got a promotion, I think, 2 weeks ago. So congratulations on that and being such an amazing soul. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Mike. I'm very excited. You always have such a good vibe, high vibe. And so it was fun meeting you. A few months ago, we had an incredible event, didn't we? And we're like just giving all of our money to Tony Robbins, as we were talking about earlier. But it's like Tony asked, we just do it. But I'm delighted to be a part of your show and, hang out with you and your audience today. What I do within the real estate industry is I own a title company. So title and escrow here in Utah, and I will be actually coming into different markets here this year. So I'm really excited about that.
That's
and
cool.
Then probably what you saw of like the promotion is that I'm a part of this big national Hispanic organization called NAREP. And I was elected as their national president this year. And so that's probably what you saw in regards to my promotion.
Yeah, but that's you told me that you were going to get elected on something. So I call it a promotion.
It's great. It is, it is. It's a big deal and it's an honor. So I'm delighted to be here.
That's awesome. So what exactly is that? That it's a community. It's like, can you explain more a little bit so people understand?
It stands for National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. And we are the largest Latino business organization in the nation. We have way surpassed the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, which is really cool. But the mission of the organization is to advance Hispanic sustainable home ownership. And we do that by having networking events, by making sure that our members are well educated in real estate altogether, because they're all real estate professionals. So that's what our community is built out of. And then we also are very involved in policy. So any housing issues, we are, in DC, like having those high level conversations. So anyone in housing is involved. And we have over 100 chapters nationwide and over 40,000 members, including in Puerto Rico. So it's a really fun and great organization. Yeah, it's really fun.
That's awesome. Like, and now you're VP for them. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's like leading by example, especially because you're a woman. You're a good-looking woman. Can we say good-looking in English? And some we can't say. It's a good-looking we can. So, like sometimes it could be harder for women in some job, and you very succeeded. You're very professional. I like your energy. We had such a great time at the Tony event. So that's why I wanted you to come and lead by example, which is what you always do. And I wanted to share a little bit your story because I know like we talked about some struggle you had, some up and down, and now you're well invested also in your personal development. So I respect all that. And of course, it was probably not always like that green. So I want to know where you're coming from and what made you the woman that you are today.
Yes. Thank you. So I was born in Mexico. I immigrated to the United States when I was 11 years old. So my father's side of the family's from there. And then on my mom's side is Spanish. And so when we came here, my parents gave me the very best that they could. But of course, there was not a lot of money or budget for extracurricular activities. Or I know you weren't born here either, Mike, right? So you're coming in and what you're wanting to immerse yourself into a new culture. You want to belong with the kids. And so it was like, I never had money to do anything. And I just remember this very one defining moment in my life where I just heard it one too many times. And I think I wanted to go to the movies, perhaps. And I just said, Mom, I want to go to the movies with my friends. And she's like, no, Nuria, no hay dinero, which means there's no money. And I just remember getting so upset. Like I was so mad. And I just declared to the universe, I said, I will never live my life like this, and from then just that ambition was born, and I knew it was going to be up to me to create something of my life and build my own wealth. And so that's kind of where, all my ambition was born from.
Yeah,
Um,
it's running away from the pain. I remember I always give an example similar. It's like I remember when I was, it's not even not paying rent that was annoying for me. It's going to the restaurants and I have to choose in between the appetizer or the dessert, or sometime not even just the main course. And then people are like, "Oh, you're not gonna get an appetizer," and I'm like, "No, no, I'm not. I'm not that hungry." And it's just because you can't afford it, but you still want to be there. So you're like, you have to choose, and it's like you kind of swear to yourself that it's never gonna happen again. And picking at the grocery, like, can I afford this? Ah, no. It's like that type of pain. That's what drives you, and it's good.
yeah.
So after that, you made that promise. How old were you when this happened?
So I was, I believe, like 13, 12 or 13. And so I began doing any type of job I could at that age, right? Like I did a paper route. I watched kids. I cleaned neighborhood, like my neighbors' houses. I just knock on the door and be like, "Can I clean your house? I want to make money." I cleaned schools while my friends were out playing all summer. I was cleaning a high school so I could get money so I could buy my own school clothes. And so it kind of built up from there. And then in high school, you can, if you have enough credits, you can do this thing called work release. I don't know if you heard of it, where
No.
you can, instead of going to a class, you can be released to go to work. And I was just excited as hell to be able to go to work because I just wanted to work money. And so I did that, and then put myself through college. I got my 2 year degree, but I had three jobs, working three jobs and going to school full time. And then eventually, when I was 22, I got into this real estate industry. And my father used to be a real estate agent. And then his title company that he used to close at needed a Spanish speaking escrow officer. And that's actually how I got my foot in the door of this business. And then I built my own book of business, did the work itself for a 9 year period. But then I had this like calling of, I felt like I always knew I was going to build like a business in this life. Ever since I was little, I was like selling colored pencils to the kids on the bus or like, stupid things, but I always wanted to sell something. And so I figured I always knew there was this entrepreneurship spirit within me. And for about a 3.5 year period, I had this vision of really coming into my industry and disrupting the whole thing. So if you and your listeners, some of you may or may not know, but a title company really is the neutral party where you do a real estate transaction. And so we ensure the history of the property. Usually we'll come into our office to do the signing. And 99% of the time, the signings are very boring. And, you're just nervous and feeling all kinds of emotions. And I just thought, gosh, there's got to be more to my industry than this. Like everyone feels like they're coming into grandma and grandpa's like CPA's office or attorney's office. And it's such an exciting moment in life. And so I wanted to come in and just disrupt that status quo. And so for a 3.5 year period, I was preparing myself, one, to understand that big vision and how I could come in and disrupt this industry. Secondly, to learn about business because Mike, I knew nothing about business, right? Like I was a great technician, but I didn't know anything about business or running one or entrepreneurship. So I immersed myself into reading a ton of books. I created a mastermind group where all of the people who I invited to participate in it were doing bigger things than I, and they were already having like their own business. I was by far making the least amount of money, but I put the group together and we did that for 2 years. We had guest speakers. We also read books. And then I interviewed at least like 15 different owners, business owners inside my industry and outside of my industry.
That's amazing. I wanna take a moment before we go. It's like I appreciate the fact that you started a mastermind and that you were not afraid to sit at the table with people that it's not that they have more value than you, it's just that they're a different chapter in their journey, and you do understand that, and you are providing probably your energy and some value, but it's okay to be the smallest at the table at some point, and that's how you're going to grow, because you're playing with players that are way more experienced than you. And I do the same. It's like I reached out to, I was just talking with Colton, I reach out to friends, even with you, we talk about it. And when you're new to an industry, there's there's nothing wrong to be humble and ask people for advice. Hey, like, how can I make it happen? And I really love that you created a mastermind to bring value and bring speaker, and everybody's benefiting from it, and then they value you for doing it, and then they help you in return. So that's fucking amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. You bring such a good point, and I think that I've always been okay with like feeling fear, and like being very uncomfortable in situations. And so, like, yes, and from there, there's been so many rooms that I've been in that I've been so intimidated by, and like just feeling that sensation of like, oh my gosh, like here I am with all of you. Who am I? And
And you still feel fear, like, just so people understand, you
yeah,
still have that thought, and you still have, it's humans, like, we still sometimes fear and feel like that, but you just do it. It's out of the comfort zone, but you're a go-getter, and you still do it.
yeah, 100%. I think Tony said this, like the biggest destruction of fear is to take action. And so we feel the fear, but we still take the action. Like we still put ourselves in that uncomfort.
Yeah,
And I've become really good at that, just like being very uncomfortable, and I'm very comfortable being uncomfortable.
that's
So
awesome. So after the mastermind, what happened? Like, you gained for 3 years, you must have gained like a lot of knowledge there.
yeah, I felt like, okay, I'm very studious and kind of I'm this mega nerd, This is why we're a part of Plaque, because we love like studying and learning. But so after that, I had a second defining moment in my life. And so I was on my way to actually a NARIP event, that organization I'm president for. And
Mhm.
it was in Washington, D.C. And I had a layover in Denver, and I was going to write down my pros and cons, whether I should stay with the company I was currently working for and continue helping them build, or if I should finally like go for it and launch this vision I had for so many years in my head. And before I could even write down one word, I just had this overwhelming feeling come over me, and I just started to get emotional. And that was all I needed to know. There was nothing that needed to be written down. I didn't need to go to my head anymore and think. It was like I knew it was bigger than me, and I just needed to go for it. And so that was my moment of decision. And then 6 months later, I was open. I had launched my title company.
So you launch your own title company, and a title company, you said it's the person that comes in between to make sure that there's no party like scamming the other party, kind of.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we protect, but really to simplify for everyone to understand what a title company does is we're the neutral party between everybody. We do the closing. So we actually will explain to you all of the closing documents for if you buy or you sell or even you refinance. And then the third big piece is that we have the fiduciary duty to the transaction. And so instead of Mike, like you buy a house and you giving the money directly to the seller, you don't. It comes to title, and then we'll disperse it accordingly. And so those are the main three functions. I mean, we ensure the history of the property. Sorry, that's like the biggest thing, right? We ensure against liens, encumbrances, fraud, boundary line issues, and yeah, just making sure that the title is being transferred clean in a clean way. So if someone knocks on your door 5 years from now and they're like, hey, Mike, we did a bunch of work on your house. The last owner never paid us, and you have a lien on the property, technically you owe us the money, then title insurance would kick in.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. I didn't even know such thing existed. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure we have that in Canada. Maybe I never bought a house, so I didn't bother with it. But that's cool. It's to sleep in peace, I guess. Like, it's you don't want to have those things like coming for you, especially in the United States. Everybody sues everybody, so want
Yeah.
to make, want to make
So
sure you're
definitely a great
protected.
protection. Like you're protecting your American dream, you know? And so it's part of like 99% of real estate transactions in the United States. And Canada does have it, but you guys usually use attorneys. And
Okay.
in some states here in the US, you have attorneys, but most you don't need to. So yeah, that's the industry I'm in.
That's amazing. And now you have like a few title agent under you. That's how it
Yeah,
works.
well, I have my company. It's called Novation Title here in Utah, and I have 23 employees. But I have this vision, and I'm working on it to bring it into different markets. So it's going to be in different states. So working on that next.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what I really appreciate also, like a lot of people, when you say plat, they don't know what it is. But basically, Nuria and I, we are in Tony Robbins, the highest group that he offer. Nuria is even a lion. She's like above platinum, like the next rank invitation only. So just so people know, guys, we're talking about investment probably of $200,000 at the end of the year with expense and trip and events. So have you always invested in yourself in order to grow?
Yes. Like obsessively, you know, I got introduced to self development when I was 25, and I hired my first business coach, and that's who introduced me to Tony Robbins. And ever since then, I've been hooked. It's like I would say it's similar to a drug. Like I feel like it's an addiction, but it's a positive addiction just because
Yeah.
you see the transformation of yourself and how you can help other people in their growth journey too. And so it's actually, yeah, we were able to, we did this questionnaire because I get to go to Tony's house this weekend as a lion. And
Oh,
so
that's
this
cool.
weekend, yeah,
Am I coming as a plus one? Is that what happening?
we can't bring anyone, sadly, but we were filling out our questionnaire, and there was like this last page of comments, and that is exactly like I just wrote my thank yous to both Tony and Sage because um, my life would be completely a different life now. You know, it's like
Mhm.
we take everyday actions. There are habits and behaviors that we do on an everyday basis that will
Yeah.
shape us into who we become in the 5, 10 years. But it's not seen.
Yeah.
It's not seen every day, right? And so people don't make choices based upon the long term gain or pain. They just are like, oh, eating the cheeseburgers every day, it's is not going to, I'm not feeling the pain today.
Yeah.
But in
Exactly.
5 years, in 10 years, it's going to be a terrible pain and perhaps like a huge disease that it was caused because you didn't do the everyday
Yeah.
actions that you should have. And so I just
Mhm.
know for a fact that my life would have been a completely different life if I wouldn't have obsessively like gone all in on this self-development journey and just like implemented it, you know? So
Yeah. That's cool. Like to add on all that, it's like Tony, I think it's Tony that says like people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do over a decade, which is 10 years. And it's like also for as a I was a health coach and celebrity trainer for years. And the thing is, when people when I was selling fitness, people are like not really doing it. It's like if you have to force it. When you want to bring them money, they're happy to pay for a coach. But when only the top tier understand that investing in your health is a long term gain, and the thing is, I've seen it too often. Like you said, people eat bad, they do bad stuff, but don't forget that the disease, most of them, they start at 40, 50 years old. So but now you live up to 100, so you have half of your life that you're going to be feeling like shit because your young self doesn't care about his routine. Because He wants to drink, he wants to party, doesn't want to invest, doesn't want to meditate, doesn't want to do nothing. And especially as a man, your prime time is 40 to 60. You want to make sure you're feeling fucking awesome for your prime time. And women, I mean, prime, it's like depending on what you're talking about, could be 30 to 40. And then yes, you gain maturity and there's other stuff. So I don't know the exact what they would describe as prime. But the when you age, when you like, let's say now you're building something fucking amazing, so when you're going to be 50 years old, if you decide to retire, you can sell the company, you can do things, and then you want to be healthy and you want to be fulfilled for when that moment happened, that you can have a 40 years of like doing whatever you want. And if you can't travel because you've been drinking and eating all those cheeseburger, and you have like all those diseases that are popping up, and stroke and stuff, you're not going to be able to travel the world and enjoy yourself. And not only that, the fact that you invested so young in yourself. Sorry, I got a life coach when I was 20, and I got introduced to personal development with MLM, multi-level marketing, when I was 19. And that's when I found Tony Robbins. I went to Unleash the Power Within at 22, I think. And I did a bunch of stuff. And then I went to see a lot of other people, came back to Tony now, got platinum. And that was like the last thing I wanted to buy. I didn't even know there was a such thing as a platinum. I was going there to make my girlfriend walk on fire. And then I wanted to get the university mastery. And I was like, I might sign for platinum instead of buying a Range Rover. So that's how I end up in
Great
platinum.
choice. Great choice.
And I always invest, and I appreciate people like you, because what you've been doing to get successful, you still do. So when I tell people, it's like when I tell them, okay, Rewired, my coaching program is like 5,000-6,000, right? And people are like, wow, that's a lot of money. I'm like, oh, that's a baby investment. Like, you'll see later on it's 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, and then 20,000 just for a week of brain hacking and stuff. It's like you said, it's kind of a drug of like, it's just because the teacher become more and more and more expensive. So now you want 1 hour with Tony, it's $1 million.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like you keep investing in yourself. And I really respect that, because what made you successful, you keep doing. And that's what people need to do. It's not because you're at the top that you stop investing in yourself. You still need to put the time, and you still need to read and do all that. And I would love to explore, like, what is a day for Nuria? Like, what is a routine? Do you train? Do you meditate, breath work, read, all that stuff?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you. And shout out to you too, that you took that journey on at such a young age. Also, like most early mid 20s people are not into this, or, they have different priorities. Right. And so, like, to me, it's this never ending path. Like, I can't imagine ever stopping to like learning, and stop growing. And like Tony says, you like you don't grow, you die. And so I definitely will always, it's just a part of who I am. It's a huge value for
Mhm.
me in my life. But yeah, what was the last question? Because there was a part.
Your daily
Oh, my daily
routine, like
routine, yeah. So um so I wake up and I will right away start listening to something positive. So whether it's Tony on a podcast, or anyone else any of my teachers, either on a podcast or an audiobook or whatever. So the first thing is, like, I'm feeding my mind positiveness as I'm getting ready for my day. And so I'm getting ready, and I usually will start working pretty, like, that is my first activity after I'm putting good things into my mind. I do work out. Like, health and vitality is definitely a top priority for me. And so my fitness activities are usually after work. And that's just
okay,
more of a personal, because
yeah,
I don't want
everybody
to wake
does
up
their
at
own
5
routine.
a.m., but then I don't have kids. So I'm like, I have freedom to still do whatever in that way. And so, it's a big, busy day, usually with consistent calls, meetings, and just running a business, right? And so, but my calendar, just to share that my calendar anything that's a non-negotiable of my goals and my dreams are on my calendar. So they are my daily activities, whether it's personal workout or obviously business or, meetings or friends or dating, whatever, like it's on the calendar. Um, and because again, coming back to the daily habits is what makes you like, and helps you like either you achieve your goals or you
Yeah.
don't. So then after work, I'll go do a workout. I love F45. It's like I can do anything for 45 minutes. So I
Yeah.
love those. And sometimes I'll do yoga. I have a good flow in it, or running. So I will do different ones, throughout the week. And then I come home and I I usually have more work to do. So I'm either working on my business or reading a book or something, or if I have a dinner, whatever, right? It depends on different days. But,
Yeah.
and then before I go to bed, that's when I do my meditation. And so meditate before.
So you do it at night.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's cool. Hey, it's a different routine than like a lot of people. I do the meet. A lot of people I know and myself, I do the me time in the morning, and then I do the routine. So you guys can see that you can still be successful no matter what's the routine, as long as you fit it in your day. So Nuria preferred to have more like a me time at night because she doesn't have kids and family. So you heard it. She's single, ready to mingle. You can drop your application. Nah, just kidding. But yeah, and we were talking also about that, like relationship and waiting for the right person. I remember at Tony, and we talked also about energy and dating. So at the moment, maybe when you're in a relationship or you have kid, the routine will change. But right now, that's working for you.
Yeah.
And I feel like I know a few very successful people that are like that. They start, they get a little 30 minutes of like something good, and then bam, in work. And sometimes I do that too. If I feel like if I'm a little stressed by some work and I want to get it crushed first thing, and then sometime I kick the routine after.
Yeah.
But that's amazing.
On the
Um,
weekends, though, I do always do my workouts in the morning. Like I
in the morning.
prefer. It's just that the lifestyle I've created for myself that doesn't want to wake up at 5 a.m. And by the way, like my sleep is super. That's actually a huge priority for me too. So I sleep a good 8 hours a night. And so,
That's good. I sleep 8 hours, no shame.
yeah,
Sometimes nine.
but you know what? Some like most people don't, and I would say like that's definitely a huge benefit for my health, and it helps me
Yeah.
like I look younger than I am. Like there's all kinds of like sleep is super important for me, and so yeah, I'm like I don't want to wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning, so. But I make sure that I'm still doing all the activities that I want to do to live a
Yeah.
successful, fulfilling life.
I mean, I loved it. Like I feel like living 3 years in LA, I was waking up at 6. Then I got the dog, the Frenchies. They're like two baby. They ruined my sleep. It was like no tomorrow. And because they couldn't do their nights. And after that, when I move on the East Coast, I feel like might be an excuse is I could never adjust to the 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. Now I do like 7:30. I do want to wake up. I like waking up and watching the sun. Like that's amazing. But yeah, I'm like you. Like my thing right now is I go to bed at 11 and I want 8 hours of sleep. So that makes me wake up at 7, and my body is adjusted like that. But when I went to Seattle for 1 week, I was waking up at 5 a.m. every morning just because of that. And I was like, oh, it's so easy here, just because of my body. But I was going to bed at like 9 or 10 because my body was used. I was like, oh, if I could just move back to LA right now, it would be so easy.
You'd be set.
But yeah, yeah, it's cool. I wanted to ask you, you read a lot. So what would be your top 3 book that you would recommend to people?
Okay, so my favorite book still to this day is The Untethered Soul by
By
Michael
Michael
Singer.
Singer.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, he's just amazing. So that would be first. The second one would be The Law of Attraction by Esther and Jerry Hicks. All my top two are all spiritual books.
That's
And
good.
I got to
Have
do
you
like
read Have you read Ask and It Is Given?
Yeah. And honestly, like those two are right next to each other, because like that is such an incredible book too.
And the
Um,
third one?
and the third, Think and Grow Rich, because I just feel like he brings it all home. It's like he really does talk about all this stuff if you pay attention of the,
Yeah.
manifestation and spirituality and how it all starts with the vision and how it comes to life. And yeah, those would be probably my top three. I mean, there's so many great books, but
Yeah.
um, those would be.
There's a lot. Like the thing with Think and Grow Rich is like you pinpoint, you need to understand the book. So when I read it at 19, I was not ready. It was all about money. I didn't get nothing. Even the sex transmutation part, I was like, sex? What do you mean? Magic? Okay, never mind about that. It must be. And then I read it like 2 years ago, and I was like, wow, shit, I missed. And every time you're gonna read that book, it's gonna hit. And also, there's one thing that I don't know if you know about Think and Grow Rich, but the actual real version, it never hit. They removed a lot of stuff. So
Oh,
there was one version that came out, but it had too many secrets that they took out because they don't
what?
want people
I want
to.
the secrets.
Yeah, I'll send you a little link after this, so you can listen to a guy who talks about it, and it's a very interesting topic, and he's revealing some of the stuff, and it's cool because it's a mix of like Abraham Hick and Think and Grow Rich and all the business secrets. So you would love it. And I tried to find the original book. I'm still looking for it. Like there was one book that was published right after. Like they didn't want to release that one. They published that one. Then they published two other versions with removing more stuff.
Oh wow,
Um, yeah, there was a.
fascinating.
I think if you combine like the Ask and It Is Given and Think and Grow It, you kind of get a mix of how it should have been, which is feeling. It's more like feeling and grow rich than thinking and grow rich kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, those are amazing book. And um, for someone that's really busy, I wanted to ask you, like, for other successful entrepreneur here, what is your best time management advice that you can give? Do you have a to-do list, or like, do you do your to-do list at night before, like stuff like that?
Yeah, I like to prep my week like even the Friday before, and
Oh, the week.
yeah. So like things are being plugged in, and there's things on the schedule already, but by Friday, if I know that my non-negotiable activities, I don't have them all filled in, that's my cue that like, oh, I need to get that done. And so and sometimes even Sundays are great. Like I love preparing the week on Sunday. Just being very intentional. It's usually a very calm, centered day. And so starting to prep even that night for what the week will look like, what I'm, talking about in certain meetings. And so, but I will say, I think the biggest thing for me that where it's allowed for me to have, because I am busy, but I travel a ton. I, um, like I really do have freedom to not have to be in my business. And so
Yeah,
like
you just love it. You love to work.
yeah, I do, but also like I've set it up correctly to where I don't have to be here. So
Was it always like that? Or like what
um
tip can you give to people that are like somebody's overwhelmed right now? He's like, fuck, I want to have time freedom. Because a lot of people think that when you get rich or when you make money, whatever rich is for you, let's say you're in the top 1% of America, 400,000 and more. A lot of people think you get freedom, but it doesn't necessarily comes together. And that's a big thing I teach in Rewire, that whoa, what you thought you would get at the top, I'll teach you how to get it. So what would be your advice if you could give, like, because it,
yeah,
it was probably not always like that.
yeah. I read an incredible business book called The E-Myth Revisited before. That was one of the
The
books.
what?
E-Myth Revisited, like the letter
Okay.
E and then myth revisited by
Myth,
Michael
like a
Gerber.
myth.
Yeah.
Okay. Michael
And
Gerber. Okay. I'll check it.
it was one of the best books like I could have read before launching my business. And it talks about you being either the technician or the business owner or the operator, similar to like Tony's Business Mastery.
Yeah.
And so I knew that I had to be working on my business from day one rather than in my business.
Yeah.
And that took a lot of letting go. And that took a lot of letting go of control and important things. And as I have built my business and scaled it up, um,
Letting go, you mean trusting the people that you hire?
yeah,
Like,
like letting go of like specific tasks and giving them to other people. And so, but the biggest, like when it really turned around for me was I went and I wanted to expand my title company in California. So I lived in LA for 3 years and I knew I was moving to be there part time. And so I didn't have an option. It's like I have a deadline and I have to make this happen. And so, what are my current activities and tasks that I need to now start like handing
putting
off and
away.
finding the right person to
Yeah.
take over that? And so I set it up from there. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm still obviously, I'm a hard worker. I'm consistently like building and working on my business, but I can do it from anywhere for the most part. And so that's been really nice that I do have that freedom to like really plug into my life, whatever. And there is a way, and there's still like a next level of that I'm working on, but
Mhm.
it's beautiful to have that freedom. And like, I didn't want to get into business to have like be like my business running my life. It was the
Yeah.
opposite way. I wanted me to
Yeah.
run.
You didn't want to create a job. You wanted to be owner and have time freedom. That's awesome. And where was your favorite travel? Like you said, you travel a lot. What's your top three countries?
Gosh, that's hard. But I would say Bali.
Bali.
Yeah, that was probably my most exotic one that I did. And I just did a TEDx talk, which was like
Okay.
a dream of mine to be on a TED stage. And I just did it in March and it was published last week. I'll have to send you the link. But
Send me. I'll watch it.
but I talked about it on that speech because the Balinese people, I mean, it's such a spiritual place and beautiful,
They're amazing.
and they're incredible. And one thing I
Mhm.
noticed was that they're very happy people. And I remember
Yeah.
asking my driver, like, "Hey, something I observed is that all of the people here, like, I haven't seen them angry or upset or sad, I said, they're all like, you guys are all really happy. Why do you think that is?" And his response was one that like blew my mind. And he said, "It's because we have a simple mind."
That's awesome. I lived in Bali for 3 months. I love Bali. Like I brought back painting from there. Like it's just like my house is all Buddha and elephant and stuff. Like
I love it.
I almost moved there. Yeah, it's so good. And that's one thing that I really loved about Bali. Like I was just riding a scooter, staying in villas, and people are fucking amazing, and people are always smiling, and like you would feel safe to live your, like, just have your daughter running in the street. Nobody would like people are just so genuine. Like I don't know if you traveled the whole island or if you stayed in Canggu or Seminyak, or like did you go to Ubud, and did you explore a lot?
So we did Seminyak and Ubud.
Okay, that's awesome. Next time you go, I'll let you know that I have a friend that owns an hotel in Ubud, and
Oh, cool.
it's amazing. And I know like I lived there 3 months, so I know like all the places, all the restaurants. I have a list of like I tried it all. It's really amazing. Like I always tell my girl, like I would move there if it wasn't for the dog right now, just for the fact that the problem is you can't get dog on the island. It's really hard. It's complicated situation. You have to put them in Singapore for 2 months and then come, and then they stay 2 weeks in a crate, and it's just I can't do that to my dog. But like you have a Frenchie too, so you understand. It's like
Yeah.
can't traumatize those little baby. Um, yeah.
We have to
What
work
is
our
your
lives around the Frenchie.
yeah, they're the king of the house. I have to
Yeah.
come back as a Frenchie. I feed them the best meat, organic, everything, and then I pet them. Sometimes I think that I live in their house. I don't know why.
That's awesome. But yeah, Bali's such a special place, right? That was a very unique, amazing
That's awesome.
experience.
Did you go to Hawaii?
Hawaii?
Did you
Yeah,
go?
I've been to Hawaii. Um,
You,
Only one island, so I need to go back. But I
which
just
one?
feel like it was Oahu.
Okay.
And I've always just loved traveling. Even when I had my three jobs in college, and like it was a lot of it was travel. And so I just love seeing the world that I'm like fascinated by. I love meeting new people, different cultures, different languages. Like it's definitely a huge like passion of mine. And so we're going to Africa next month.
Yeah, I know it's gonna be amazing. Like, I'm actually going to Cancun next month. I decided to do Ibogaine, so it's like a psychedelic journey. Um,
Is it
I don't know if you ever did.
the frog thing? The frog.
No, so that's the frog is Cambo,
Okay.
and Ibogaine is like the most powerful psychedelic. So it's 12 hours. You have to be under supervision, medical supervision. If it's not done properly and just in the wild, it's dangerous. Like you could die. So it's medically they extracted. It's going to be an interesting journey. I'm always looking to go deeper in myself. So like I'm a fan of psilocybin, like mushroom. So I'm gonna do that in Cancun, and then I'm excited for Africa. That's gonna be no work, no nothing, just chilling with you guys. That's gonna be like so good.
Yeah,
Ah,
I'm
can't
so
wait.
excited for it. It-
Have you been to Africa?
mm-mm. No,
Yeah.
it's on my list, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. Well, I wanted to thank you a lot for your time. Is there any last word you want to say? Is there like something you would wish to tell your younger self or people listening? Like I know there's a lot of women now that want to be boss babe or whatever the term they use. I believe in just being a good human being that will produce stuff, not necessarily a boss babe and a WAP. But
Um,
what would you have to say that someone that want to become an amazing woman?
oh my gosh, you're one of a kind, Mike. I would say, I would say um, that we live in a day and age where you really can create whatever life it is that you want. And I'm not saying that there aren't, different companies or corporations that maybe don't allow the opportunity for women to rise or, different sexes. Like, I'm not saying that doesn't exist. It does. But what I encourage all of you to do is like, you want to sit at the table, build your own table. Like you want to, it's like you can go and create and live this life where you can still play in your feminine energy. And this is actually a big focus I've been talking about lately on my panels and things where it's a women environment. Because I love my girls. Like, of course, I want you all to go and dream big, but I also love men and I also love the masculine energy and I very much honor that too. And so what I will challenge everyone on and invite you to is there's a beauty within your feminine energy as a boss, babe. Like you don't have to try to be someone else. You don't have to wear all the like masculine masks. There's magic
Mhm.
within our feminine energy of what we can bring into the business world and to your career. And like it's really the collaboration of both energies that really create this
Yeah.
beautiful outcome. And so play with your energy and it's a beautiful thing, and like how I said, I love my guys and I've had some very incredible guys in my life who have very much pushed me, empowered me, like wanted to lift me up. And so I think we just need to get rid of the old narrative.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better, and I love that you say that, and that's why I was laughing saying "boss babe" because I don't support that movement. I do support women wanting more out of life while staying in their feminine, so that we can embrace both powerful. Women bring something that men we don't see, and men bring something that women don't see. So it's cool when there's a collaboration and that you use both sex and both intuition to build something amazing, and I thank you for that. Couldn't have said it better. And women, I don't know. well, don't it's not an order. I don't know if you can say that in English, but I was like, woman, you can go follow Nuria. Sometimes I mess up word, but if she's an example,
Say it in French.
I
It's
didn't want to
fine.
I didn't want to say woman, you do that and sound like that. But if you're inspired and you're a woman and you want to follow Nuria, if you can tell them where they can find you and maybe hear you talk and you can serve as an inspiration because you're successful, you're in your feminine energy, you're investing in yourself. So it's all very amazing quality that I respect.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and thanks for letting me be here with you guys today. You can follow me on Instagram. My handle is nuria.p.rivera. So it's spelled Nuria.p as in Paula, and then dot Rivera.
Amazing. I'll put your link and under the podcast. Thank you very much for coming today. I really appreciate, and I
Morning.
hope that you guys enjoyed. Men and women, you can listen to the advice, but I love to bring empowered women to share their experience and their journey.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
I'll see you in another podcast, guys.